have Dappnode presenting with us today. Dappnode have a one-box solution to running a validator node. You can have a validator node on Gnosis Chain and up within sort of 15 minutes, and these guys are going to tell us how to do that. But I'm just going to start off by presenting a little bit about Gnosis Chain and our validator network. Any questions, please pop them in the chat and I'll try and answer them. So just as an introduction, Gnosis Chain is a layer one chain on Ethereum. And we're also proud to talk about the Gnosis VIP program today. It's very important to us over at Gnosis to decentralize our validator network as much as possible. So if we ever have any government interference or local regional problems, our network won't be affected if we're as geographically diverse as possible. So to that end, areas geographically where we feel we don't have enough validator nodes will now be offered a monthly bounty. So that monthly bounty will be paid directly to the wallet of the validator node if it's in an IP of a region which is currently underutilized by the network. So yeah, we're a proof of stake. We ask the validators stake their Gnosis coins on the validator, and this allows us to check the transactions and provide our network with a stable infrastructure to build upon. So yeah, we'll take a quick look at the network architecture, how that relates to the validator network, and then what kind of hardware requirements there are for building one of these validator nodes. Okay. So yeah, Gnosis Chain is a layer one. It's a proof of stake. We follow the Ethereum roadmap pretty closely. So yeah, it uses very similar validator technologies and developer technologies to the Ethereum blockchain, such as consensus, which we'll see a bit later. So hopefully it's pretty familiar to some guys here. Our transactions are extremely cheap. We charge less than a cent on XDAI. And we have over 100,000 validators in our network currently. That puts us just third place behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because it's a huge number of validators and we are quite spread out over the earth, but always looking to improve the strength of our network. So what is our mission at Gnosis? We want the chain to be auditably and credibly neutral. Yeah, the governance and direction of the chain to be governed by the validator nodes. So we will always have proof of stake where people are able to vote on how things are going to be done with Gnosis Chain, and we'll distribute that decision making across our validator network. We also want our network to be strong, and for it to be strong, we need it to be decentralized. And when we talk about decentralized, we mean, you know, different machines, different cloud providers, different geographic locations. We want as much diversity within the validator network as possible to make it as robust as possible. So that's the idea of the Gnosis VIP program. We've just announced how much we'll be paying each month for the bounties. So all it takes is running a validator node. You don't have to log in or do anything. If the validator node is in an area where we feel we don't have enough coverage for the network, you'll automatically receive your rewards to the validator node. Each Gnosis is split into 32 milli Gnosis, and we pay our rewards for validation and our rewards for the VIP program, both in milli Gnosis. This is our first bounty program, of which there will be many coming in the future. And our first program is all about geographic diversity. So looking for people to come and validate in areas where we traditionally haven't had as many as some other geographic areas. Okay. So how much are the rewards going to be? The current rewards rate for running a validator node is 16%, and that's just from validating transactions. And then we're also looking to send further rewards if you are in these geographic areas where we don't feel we have enough coverage. And those rewards get bigger and bigger, maxing out at 6 months. So if you have the validator up for 6 months, you're guaranteed this over $700 bounty reward, which, as I say, doesn't require any creating accounts, logging into websites or anything like that. We're going to pay it directly to your validator without without any process required. So yeah, we really hope that people are going to take this scheme up. The guys are very keen on it. We have a lot of bounties behind it. So any check with the guys where we're going to be putting these zones, and then the bounties are going to come automatically in each of those geographic zones. So yeah, it was the end of 2022 where we did the merge on Gnosis Chain. So we've now moved to proof of stake on the Beacon chain. So this means that all our transactions are going to be validated and served by our validator network. Staking is when you pledge the coin upon the validator. So we're talking, you take one single Gnosis coin, place that inside the validator, and then you're going to get the 16% APR and any bounty rewards attached to that validator. So yeah, we implemented in a very similar style to Ethereum. And the reason that we're so passionate about our validator network is, of course, it underlies everything that we do in validating our transactions and creating new blocks on the blockchain. We also don't want our network to be centralized by ourselves or by anyone else. So we want our validators to be a diverse group as possible. And that will allow our validator network to earn the rewards by securing our network and making everything that we do possible. What are the requirements to start a validator today? As I say, it's a single Gnosis coin, which is currently valued just over $100. You will need the hardware to create the validator, and obviously a network connection to sync with the rest of the chain and serve the transactions. So what kind of hardware might we need? I mean, if you've got a decent sized old laptop or server laying around your house, then just install Linux and away you go, and you can run it straight from home. Other people prefer to run on the cloud providers. It's AWS, GCP, DigitalOcean. We recommend using local cloud providers, both to increase the diversity of the network and also to save on running costs, as local cloud providers are quite a bit cheaper than the big three. And let's take a look at what it takes to run a validator. So a kind of box this size. So the bare minimum for a single validator node, a couple of CPUs, 8 gig of memory. So basically any old box you've got lying around, or hire one for cheap off the cloud providers. And then the larger build here with the 4 CPUs, 16 gig of RAM, you know, on this kind of box, you could start to look at running 2, 3, even 4 validator nodes on a single box here. And that's also fully monitored by Prometheus. The guys over at Stereo do a one-click install. So all you need is a Linux server, engage Stereo to the Linux server, and it's going to do the full install of the validator node, up it, sync it, everything. All you have to do is place the single Gnosis in it, and it's validating right away. You can be earning rewards on the validator nodes within a few hours with Stereo. It's quite a powerful solution. Of course, you can do a custom install if you're a hardcore techie, but Stereo is a great option if you're not too familiar with installing validator nodes. Going to look at some of the costs associated with running a validator node here with the cloud provider. So bare minimum for a node, you're looking at approximately costs of just under $100 a month per node. But if you use the economy of scale, use the larger box and put multiple nodes on there, you can get significant discounts. Obviously, then you're talking, you know, around $100 and $200 here for this box per month. And I'm saying, you know, 4 nodes a box is potentially, you know, only $50 a month of running costs on the validator node, as opposed to the 100 if you run them on single boxes. So, yeah, quite a powerful solution, just choosing a slightly larger box and running multiple validator nodes upon it. But plenty of options there, depending on what you're looking to do on the Gnosis chain. Am I over at Dappnode already?
Hey, I don't know. Are you?
I don't know, guys. Yeah, please,
Cool.
chap. Please, chap, go for it. I'll come and join back
So
in.
yeah, fantastic. Good. So yeah, so it is one way. So you mentioned Stereo as one of the options that you guys that anybody that wants to be a validator, they can jump on Stereo, and if they can do a Linux install, that then they're going to be up and running, right? So then we can go to the next slide. Perfect. So what is Dappnode? So in a way, it's very, very similar to what Stellium does. So we help people run their own infrastructure without them having to have any technical knowledge. We always say Dappnode is mostly a software project. We do a free open source software. Here you can see on the right side, we have free open source software that you can install in your machine. We recommend an Intel NUC or maybe a VPS, like the ones we have been seeing. You can just install Dappnode on it, and it provides you with a suite of tools that we will see right now in the demo that allows you to never have to use command line, never have to use anything. Everything is point and click, and we try to make your life extremely easy because we believe that if we want to achieve true decentralization, we need to expand, we need to make it super easy for people beyond those with technical abilities, right? Everybody should be able to run a node. And if it's just stupid simple to run a node, then why wouldn't you do it? Especially when with programs like the Gnosis VIP, you can actually be earning quite a bit. So I got to say thank you for doing such a cool program, because one of the big problems is that we always have all the validators are in the same geographical locations, right? So thanks for doing a program like this. So mainly free open source software. We're going to see an example right now, but also plug and play machines. So how can it be even easier than something that you don't need to use command line? Well, we do sell our own hardware that comes pre-installed with the software. It does nothing different. It is no different than the software, but it's already built in a very powerful machine that will last you for years. And that's just to make it extremely simple for people to be able to run without any technical knowledge, without having to deal with how do I set up a VPS, how do I install Ubuntu on it, how do I do anything of that, how do I build a physical machine on my own. So you can just buy a plug and play machine. But mostly Dappnode is free open source software that allows you to manage and deploy nodes. So okay, let's go to the next slide. Thank you, Pete. This is a little bit how it looks. So you can see that it has so on the first image, the one that's sort of like at the background, you can see that there's like a stickers UI, and you can see execution clients, consensus client, remote signer, MEV boost. You basically, all of this complexity that you get, like when you need to run, we're going to see that in a few minutes. You just basically click, you point and click, and you install it without ever having to deal with any command line. And we also have like this Dapp store that you see on the image that's a little bit more forward. All of these packages, Mysterium, SSV, Shifu, Alephium, which is another layer one, Bitcoin, Monero, Zcash, all these layer ones, they're one-click install, just like Gnosis Chain. Well, Gnosis Chain actually is execution and consensus, so it's a bit more involved than one click, but maybe you need 3 clicks. We'll see it later. And you just click, and it gets installed in your machine. And what do I mean in my machine? Well, if you have installed Dappnode in a VPS, it will be installed in that VPS. If you have Dappnode running on one of these machines that you can see on the top right, on the bottom left, those are 2 of the Dappnode machines that we sell, then it will be installed in that. Just like when you have an Android phone and you download an application, it gets installed in the phone itself. The same way, when you see this Dapp store, you install these nodes in the machine itself, right? So why do people use Dappnode? Can we go to the next one? Thanks, Pete. So people mostly use Dappnode for validation, because you can make money with it. Of course, you can run a Bitcoin node and you can route your transactions through your own RPC endpoint, but that doesn't give you any money. So most people use Dappnode to validate and to earn money. And here we can see that we have, for example, that was at the beginning of February. We have 3,582 validators on Ethereum, and that is self-reported by putting this graffiti, validating from Dappnode, which is the default one that you get when you use Dappnode. There's actually probably a lot more but we don't have any telemetry. We when you install Dappnode in your machine, this Dappnode is yours and it's completely self-sovereign. And we have no telemetry, never calls home. The Dapp store that you have seen is actually an Ethereum repository. It's an Ethereum smart contract. And when you download these packages, when you download Bitcoin, you download it from IPFS, from an IPFS hash that it's also in the repository, in the Ethereum repository. So you actually never connect to a server that we control. The Dappnode is yours and yours alone, and we have nothing to do with it. And you can see on the side as well that with the same graffiti, self-reported 11,424 validators are running on Dappnode, right? So a lot of people use it for validation, and I'm going to show you why, because it's extremely easy to do. If we can go to the next slide. Actually, I think the next slide is just setting up the validator. Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen now. I'm going to go here. Okay, perfect. Cool. Okay, so I was showing you Dappnode, right? And are you guys ready to set up a validator? Like, we're gonna do it like very quick. Okay, we're gonna do a speed run validator. How fast can we do it? Somebody has a timer? Okay, it's 21 right now. So I'm gonna go to the stakers UI. You see this staker section. So basically, I'm connected to my Dappnode right now, and I'm connected. Let me do a little bit of explanation of what are we seeing in the screen. So right now, you remember that I told you that Dappnode can be installed, right? So I have this machine, this right here, at my dad's house in Spain. I'm currently in Istanbul. I travel a lot, so so my dad takes care of this machine. So I have this at my home in Spain, and and I'm connecting through it via VPN. So I can connect and I can always see the UI. You can see the VPN right here. Boom, I can create a VPN profile, and from my computer, I connect directly to the server, to the Dappnode, that it's at my dad's desk in Spain. So once I go to my.dappnode, which is obviously not a real UI, a real website. If you try to go my.dappnode without being connected to your Dappnode on the VPN, you'll find nothing, right? But since I'm connected to the VPN, my Dappnode understands that, hey, this is actually for me, and starts serving me this UI, okay? So cool. So I'm connected to my.dappnode, connected to my Dappnode, and here's how I'm gonna install. Now we can start, now that we have the previous knowledge. How are we what do we need to validate? Well, we need an execution layer client, for example, Nethermind. We need a consensus layer client. Pete, which one do you like the most?
We like Lighthouse.
Lighthouse. So Lighthouse, and I'm going to choose a default fee recipient. Then you can change it. You can actually change the fee recipient by at the key store level. But I'm going to put a default one. I'm going to leave the graffiti right here, validating from Dappnode, and I'm going to choose the Web3 signer. What is the Web3 signer? The Web3 signer is basically something that we included. So the key stores live in one place. And that allows you to just change validator clients whenever you want without having to remove the key stores from one and put them in the next one. You basically have the Web3 signer here. And okay, now I'm going to click on apply changes. And it's going to install all of these packages in my machine. It's going now. Remember, I explained to you how this works. So basically, right now, it's looking on the Ethereum smart contract. Hey, what's the IPFS hash of the Docker image of Nethermind XDAI? What's the IPFS hash of the Lighthouse node? What's the IPFS hash of the Web3 signer? And those are Docker images. So it's basically setting up these Docker images. It's downloading them from IPFS, not from any central server, and installing them in the machine. Right now, I'm going to change machines. Well, no, actually, I'm not. So what do we do? Okay, right now we have created the, we're installing all the packages that we need, and they're going to start installing. But also, in order to run a validator, we actually need to create some keys, right? So we can go to Wagyu. Let me go back. We can go to the Wagyu package. And you're like, hey, I need key stores now. I need key stores. And we can go here. I want Gnosis key stores, not mainnet, Ethereum, nor Goerli. I want Gnosis key stores. And I go here, and I create. And let me copy this. and I go next. Don't worry, I'm not going to use these ones. You can screenshot it as much as you want. I'm not going to fill it with real money. And then I'm going to paste here this. And I want to create, for example, 4 key stores with password. This one right here. You can copy it, and then you can steal my money from me. And then I can choose the withdrawal address, which is the address that where I will be whenever I activate the withdrawals, and where my GNOs will go, which I will use one that I have right here. Boom. And then I go next. I put the password. Next. And my keys are going to be saved here. Look at myself. Fucking LastPass. They get hacked and they bother me. And then I'm going to create this. And right now it's creating the keys. And what's going to happen right now is that it will import them directly into the Web3 signer. So the Web3 signer will already be having these key stores. And what it's going to do is it's going to download automatically the deposit data. And why do I need the deposit data? Right now you can see the deposit data right here. It has been downloaded. So why do I need this deposit data? Okay, because then I need to go to of course, these validators, I've created the key stores, but these validators are not funded. I need to fund these validators, right? I need to put some GNOs in here. So I'm going to drag this deposit data on here. Something went wrong parsing your JSON file. Okay, that's not good. Oh, well, sorry. Yeah, Wagyu is not properly implemented. So this is basically what's in the deposit data file. Sorry, I'm using a test version, so I guess I broke it. Apologies for that, but it will work when you do it. You just put a deposit data here, which I'm going to replace with something else. Let me see if I have deposit data. This is Prater, but this is not the network. Yeah, okay. I'm using a deposit data for Prater. But then you need to do the deposit here. And if you've created the right deposit data, then you'll need to trigger a transaction, and you'll need to deposit the GNOs in here. And once this has happened, let me just show you how it looks when it's all. Then, so obviously you will need to go through the queue, and then I've just connected to another Dappnode where I have the Gnosis Chain validators running, and you can see. Let's go here, Gnosis Chain, and I'm going to show you how it looks like. Then the Web3 signer is right here, and I have all of these keys in Gnosis Chain right here with my fee recipient. And if I want to import new keys, I can just do it like that. And I just import another key store, and then I put the password of the key store and the fee recipient, and voila. And that's how you do it. That's how you set up a validator. I had to speed run a little bit at the end, but I hope it's understandable. I just wanted to finish with the fact that apart from the Gnosis VIP program, if you buy one of these machines, we've partnered with Gnosis Chain since the beginning of times, and we're also, well, Gnosis, we're not. Gnosis is giving 4 free GNOs that you, if you buy one of these machines. This is to incentivize you more, to incentivize people that don't know how to install it. So you will get 4 GNOs if you do that, and you will be able to claim them through this particular UI deposit. There's like a special Dappnode section here where you will get these GNOs directly into the key stores that you create. Voila. Sorry, Pete, I was a little bit long.
Oh, no, it's perfect. Looks like a great solution for non-technical and technical people alike to start validating instantly on the Gnosis chain. We'd love to take some questions right now. So if Ethan and I can answer any questions about Gnosis chain and becoming a validator, and I'm sure Paul will help us out if we have any questions about Dappnode too. So if anyone has any questions from me, please pop them in the chat or come onto voice and let us know. Do you want to hit the first question, Paul? I believe it was 4.
How many validators can we run on Dappnode? That's a very good question. And you can run, I've heard of people running 1,200 validators in one Dappnode.
Wow.
Second question is the Dappnode software for free? Yes, absolutely. You can just go to the VPS of choice, or if you have an old machine, an old Intel NUC, maybe one of these Chinese cases, fanless and stuff. They're not as reliable as the Intel NUCs. That's why we don't sell them in our shop, because they just generate too much support, and we want to something very easy. But if you know how to change the RAM, how to change the NVMe, one of these machines will do. They're very cheap. And you can install it. You can install the software, and you'll have exactly the same thing as somebody that has bought the machine. As I said, hardware. I don't want to be in the hardware business. We're just doing it for it to be even simpler. So, what's the costs of the VIP? Sorry, you go ahead.
Yep. Ethan, do you have any information for us on the countries available for the VIP program?
I guess you guys can see the D14N website. So basically, we will give bounties to countries without Gnosis at this moment.
So yeah, we've got a geographic map there on d14n.info, and on that website you'll be able to see any regions. There's a heat map of the world, so you'll be able to see any regions where there aren't validator nodes. If you're in one of those regions, the bounty is going to get paid to you, but you can always check with us over at Gnosis Builders if you want more information. But yeah, we're going to release it on a website very, very soon, the exact countries, but you can get an idea of where they're going to be from the heat map on d14n.info there. Paul, could you do the cost of running a Dappnode, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me see if I can find a calculator. This pulls about 25 to 35 watts, which is probably less than your fridge, and definitely a lot less than your TV. So it's actually very cheap in terms, like it's negligible. It's like having a small fridge running in your house as well in terms of electricity. In terms, so yeah, then it will depend. That's for the machines, and then it will depend on which model do you do. I think the smallest model pulls, the Hopper model pulls 25 watts, and the biggest one pulls around 35.
Great, not very much at all. When will the VIP program be available? We are launching it within 2 weeks, maybe 1 week. There'll be notifications on the Twitter, but very, very soon, within the next 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Another one for you, Paul? Yep.
Yes, certainly. You can run. So the question is, can you run Validators from Gnosis on other chains at the same time? Yes, you can run Ethereum, mainnet, and Gnosis Chain. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you don't have a beefy machine. So just to use again, I'm not talking about my Dappnodes, but to use as a point of reference, the ones that we sell one with 64 gigabytes of RAM and 4 terabytes NVMe. And I would say you definitely need 64 gigabytes RAM if you want to run the two at the same time, because you're going to be running 2 execution clients, 2 consensus clients, and yeah, you're going to be you want it to be lofty. You don't want this to affect your performance. But yeah, you totally can. And also, of course, this will take a lot of space in the hard drive or in the SSD or NVMe. So it needs to be big enough.
And then I think for the next question, Paul, you guys have your own software to deploy, don't you, rather than using the Ethereum system?
Right. It's actually so Dappnode is based on Debian, so you can run Styrium in the same machine as Dappnode, but it's gonna be tricky because Dappnode, what Dappnode's goal is to make it extremely simple, and it actually configures the ports for you. And if you run Styrium for Gnosis Chain, say, and Dappnode for Ethereum, I think you'll be fine, but there might be some ports colliding. There might be, and obviously you cannot access your Styrium UI or your Styrium stuff from the Dappnode platform. You would have you could, but it'll get messy when it comes to Docker.
Sounds reasonable. Any more questions, guys? Oh, yep.
Very good question. So risk of hacks. So basically, keep your mnemonic safe. Keep your mnemonic safe, and Dappnode takes care of the security. It includes a firewall. It includes everything you need to protect your server. But if somebody, let's just say that you have a physical Dappnode, and somebody actually gets and has access to the Dappnode and literally takes the Dappnode, and somehow, well, there's a password, but somehow they can get in this password, and they can get in, and they can have the validator keys. So what they can do with these validator keys is actually, they don't control the withdrawal address. You just need to control the withdrawal address. What they can do, the only thing that they can do is either to keep validating for you, thank you very much, Mr. Hacker, or they could, if they want to be really bad, they could slash you. They could start validating on 2 places at the same time, and that would be a slashing event, and then they would slash you. But that's a griefing attack. A hacker is not why would they go to the point where they set up a staking setup just to slash you? That doesn't make any sense. So, but that's the only thing that they can do. It's actually very safe as long as you keep the withdrawal address. If something happens to your machine, if someone breaks into your VPS and steals the key stores, the only thing that they can do is to trigger an exit. So if you control the withdrawal address, that's good for you because you'll get your money back. They can keep validating, which I don't think they will, and they could slash you, which also, why would they go through so much trouble?
But yeah, we do certainly recommend, if you create the mnemonic key, do it on an offline machine and keep it very safe. Yeah. There's plenty of guides online about keeping mnemonic keys on safe, and certainly very important. And we don't recommend creating them on online machines. Storage, yeah, I mean, probably looking at about 0.5 terabyte was going to comfortably sit a node for a very long time. Can go a bit bigger. And then Paul, this chap's asking about 1,000 validators and how much storage that might require. But you know anything about that?
That's an excellent question. So basically, as long as you run the execution client and the consensus client, which takes, as Pete says, about 0.5 terabyte, you can add validators on top without much overhead. The computational overhead for one more key is basically nothing. And in terms of storage, it's also nothing. What you will have, for example, you will have a slashing protection database, and these will grow, and it will grow big because you'll have 1,000 validator keys. But again, this is also taken care of on Dappnode because we have auto pruning of this database, and we keep it under 80 gigabytes, I think, for 80 gigabytes. Sorry. Actually, I don't know, but yeah, we keep it slow. We trim that for you. Let me just check. Actually, I'm curious.
Well, that's really interesting, Paul, that you can get such great economy of scale there and add validator nodes so cheaply.
Certainly. Okay, I'm not finding it. But yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So we do get these big overheads when we do multiple chains, as we need different consensus and execution clients. But yeah, if it's all on one chain, sounds like you can get some great value bring the validators together there. Can I run over? Yep, 500 would be absolutely fine for one validator chap on just a Gnosis chain. We recommend maybe like 700, 800 if you want to go a little bit larger to add monitoring and that kind of thing. But if it's purely the node, 500 gigs is going to be fine just for storing the chain. Yeah. Ethan, do you have anything to add and any more questions, guys? Cool. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Dappnode, for coming to join us.
Thanks to you, Pete.
Pleasure.
That's a great
Thanks,
presentation.
guys. Do be in touch with Gnosis Builders, guys. If you have any questions, any interest in building on the Gnosis chain, or any questions about validating, check in about our VIP program very soon for the bounties. And thank you all so much for attending. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Have a great one, guys.
Cheers, Paul.